All right, welcome everybody. Today's session to close out the summer symposium in Salinas County is Infographics with Adobe Express. I'm Alex Isaacs. I'm here representing EdgeGain, one of Adobe for Education's premium training partners. And I could not be more thrilled to have this fourth session, have some repeat individuals in attendance, where hopefully they could tell you, brought the enthusiasm, brought the engagement, and that you're ready to kind of close out your week before those last little bit of time before you head back to school for the 25-26 school year. So very excited. I've had some great participation throughout this wonderful event, and I hope we'll be able to maintain that momentum and really get you feeling good about using this platform going into the new school year that's coming up in less than 2 weeks from what I can tell. So really excited to be here with you all. And without any further ado, I'm going to drop the main webpage link into the chat for everybody to use. This is going to allow you to follow along with everything going on today. One last time, the registration link and the Adobe Express homepage link is available pinned to the top of the chat. Supposedly, if you use your school credentials, you will be able to get in, no problem. Ryan, please let me know if that additional Adobe link that I dropped up top with the EDU K-12, whether that actually worked for you or not, okay? All right. So again, I'm here on behalf of EdgeGain and Adobe for Education. You all have the web page link. We're going to ignore the Clever for now, considering it's not really being rolled out until the 29th. But we're going to get started with today's training session. And I couldn't be more excited for the fourth and final one right here. So when you get to this picture of this girl over on the left side in the red frame, click on that Review Today's Training button. And you will be brought to an additional web page that has this young person through the frame. And if you scroll down, we'll get to this introduction. Now, just so that everybody is in, if we're a little confused about being in an additional web page, I put the web page link just now for the one that includes all the activity links and otherwise, okay? So just as far as a very brief intro goes, you're going to create and remix your own infographic, flyer, or poster using Adobe Express and leave this session being able to apply the skills within classroom projects. If I click Review Today, I can follow up. You got it, Ryan. Keep me posted, okay? So specifically in this session, you're going to discover why visual storytelling sticks with a little bit of a rationale and a couple of short slides, create an infographic, flyer, or poster in Adobe Express, add an audio recording to explain your thinking, remix and customize an infographic template for your students with one click, and plug your template straight into your classroom. Now that last one's going to be a little bit challenging considering your classrooms really are not set up for you at this point. However, we're going to still make this meaningful and make sure everybody feels like they can hit the ground running in just a couple weeks' time. Okay, so starting off with a quick rationale. These slides within this web page, they are clickable, that you can kind of zoom in on them a little bit. Now, I want everybody to kind of focus in on the difference between this left side of just this wall of text, almost speaking of blood, making my eyes bleed almost to a degree, compared to the infographic that is taking place on the right side. So you could see, which one would you find to be more reasonable to kind of explore and understand? To me, it's that visual. I'm taking a test later on science and the composition of blood. That figure, along with the captions on the right, going to be far more memorable compared to that block text over on the left that's just hurting my brain at this point. So that's just kind of a visual representation of why infographics are helpful when making learning stick. But in addition to that, we have some great stats here that are actually cited and research-based, even though some of them sound so unbelievable. So within 13 milliseconds, our brains can view and connect with images. Imagine that compared to having to sit there and kind of read that whole text. In less than a second, we kind of have an overall idea of what the message is and connecting those images to the data that's being shown to us. 323%, that's people following directions with text and illustrations. They do that much better than people following directions without illustrations. So these little graphics, no problem, Aaron. Just keep popping back in if you get kicked. All good. It's really just those images are going to help make those connections for students. It's going to allow for that retrieval to take place more easily for them. And last but not least, researchers found that color visuals increase our willingness to read by 80%. So I always speak from the perspective of a middle school math teacher. I saw a very stark contrast between making materials that were colorful and engaging and meaningful compared to those traditional paper and pencil type of, worksheets and notes pages that I felt, oh yeah, this is the way to be creative early on. I'm going to make a Microsoft Word front and back notes page. I kind of grew into figuring out what are the creative platforms? How do I put more creative opportunities in the lap of my students so that they are prepared as they go off into college or look for a job or join some type of club within higher education? They're going to be better prepared understanding these multimodal tools if we get them in their hands earlier than later. So one thing that I actually did forget, and I'm very embarrassed, while I kind of finish off this last slide, if you all wouldn't mind dropping into the chat from a 0, meaning that you've never really used Adobe Express and it's completely brand new to you, to a 5, feeling that you're very confident with the platform and have used it extensively, I would love to know where you're at with the platform. Stephanie, if I recall, you were a person in one of my sessions yesterday. I believe that's an improvement from the previous number you listed. So I'm very happy to hear that, and I hope we can get you. Maybe really? Well then, geez, I love that you're at a 4 already. Hopefully we can get you to a 5 by the end of this. And in addition to that, it looks like we've got a lot of very much beginners, which is absolutely fine. Do not be intimidated. This is a very straightforward platform. But we also have some intermediate individuals out there. So I do believe I'll be able to give you some tips and tricks that you might not know. And hopefully we can all leave here with some wonderful infographics, because this obviously applies to every single content area and grade level, even if it's from the perspective of asking students to make their own infographics. Okay. So in this case, this is just a visual representation of an infographic. So what an infographic is, if we're not really familiar with it, even though I'm pretty sure we all are, is data sorted, arranged, and presented visually. So you start off with all this information, you kind of get it sorted out, you arrange it in a way, and then it's presented hopefully in an aesthetically pleasing way. And the great aspect is Adobe Express makes it very easy to do so. Okay. You're more than welcome to explore those slides a little bit more closely if you like, but we're going to get to activity 1 in just a moment. Before we do this first activity, I want to make sure that everybody out there is clear on a couple of different areas within Adobe Express. So I know we had a couple people join us a little bit late. My apologies for repeating myself many times today, everyone. But there are 2 links pinned to the top of the chat. The first one is the registration link that please fill out so you become compensated for this event. And the second one is the Adobe Express login page that if you sign in with your school credentials, you should be able to get in. When you get into Adobe Express, you should see this very colorful, aesthetically pleasing main homepage. Now, what I can tell you, and thank you everybody for sharing your skill level in the chat, from 0 to I think a 4 as the top. Don't worry, we're going to get you up and running in no time. They've just kind of edited this space to now have 3 tabs at the top, depending on what you're looking to do. So your 3 options are create, teach, and edit. One thing that I really want to point out of the create area in this space, the animate character option right here with this Roman, I believe. That's a great option for an infographic to be able to explain it audibly. But we're going to show you that in just a little bit. So you have some very important and widely used quick actions available to you right here. These are some great options that you can use with your class. Something that I haven't introduced in my other sessions that would be a great beginning of year activity, just to have some fun with your kids if you're willing to kind of step out a little bit. Make a logo. Have your kids redesign the school logo that you're at, change the mascot or make the mascot more in a different aesthetic. You can do that as an opening one. But what you'll also see here is this create an infographic button. So that's where you can go to see all the different infographic templates while in a blank design. So the main homepage, one more time, if you're looking to teach something to your students or get involved with specific types of assignment creation or things like that, this will bring you to those quick actions by clicking on it. And I will do a plug for this Onboard to Express to earn a Creative Educator badge. It takes about 30 minutes. I did it myself. It is a very comprehensive, great course to kind of know more of the basics of the platform if you're not there already. And maybe by the end of this, my New York, New Jersey accent could be a bit too much for you, and the hand gestures. I'm constantly doing this. The last space that you have access to is the Edit tab. And a couple that I would really point out to you: Combine Files, that allows you to bring in each of these different file types into one PDF, and the Editing PDF option. You can make, you get rich text formatting features as long as it was created digitally and not like a scanned one from like a piece of paper. You have some great options to, really enhance those PDF files with your students. But let's say that you have a Google Slides deck that you love with your kids. Download it as a PDF, bring it in to bring it into Combine Files, bring it into the Edit PDF, and you'll have the opportunity to build within Adobe Express, add graphics, add video to your slide deck. So it's a great getting started point for you to kind of get your feet wet if you have those slide decks that you know are really good. Beyond this main homepage with the tabs, there are two main sections that I really want us to become familiar with. And if you've been in a previous session with me, you are more than welcome to kind of take a look through the web pages that have the activities and kind of skip over this if you're competent with finding the Learn and Educator Resources tab. So the first thing is the Learn tab. And what this offers you is categorized video walkthroughs that are brief. I'm telling you, some of these are 30 seconds or less. I think it goes up to about 3.5 minutes at most, so nothing too bad. But depending on what you're looking for, you have some great options here that you can scroll through. So you're looking for a little bit more reinforcement. Your eye is caught by, I want to add text effects to my text and use that generative AI feature. You can click on this. It will bring you to this video that is 1 minute, 3 seconds. So you really have that ability to get bite-sized PD that's not cognitive overload and really be able to use the platform in different ways asynchronously with those video bite-sized chunks. So that Learn tab is what's in the name. You're going to learn stuff here. But Educator Resources is really where I want to focus in on. Because what you could do is, depending on your content area and grade level, you could break it down. So let's say I'm social studies and I'm high school. You'll see the guided activities, which I'll describe to you in just a moment. But you'll also see these standard aligned classroom activities that in the top left corner tell you what the kids are going to be creating, whether it be an infographic or a poster or a flyer. All of these would be appropriate for you to complete today when we kind of go off and do our own exploration of the platform. So we'll show you these again. But at the same time, you also have some easy to use classroom templates underneath, along with the Learn videos all the way at the bottom. But at this point, I'm going to go back to all subjects. And again, my apologies for the repetition for people who have been in on a session with me. The guided activities are those in this top row right here, okay? And what I want you to keep in mind are the ones that are furthest to the left are the newest. So the one with the Create a Portrait Masterpiece, that is the newest one out of, each of the different opportunities that are listed here. And what makes these very helpful and very useful is the idea of, when I click on one, I've recommended this name tag to pretty much anyone in the sessions that I've done, just because I remember my 8th graders really enjoying this. And if I had had a digital opportunity like this, I would have loved it. But what I'm pretty sure we can all notice while getting in here, in addition to the backwards font here, because they actually are giving you the proper spaces to write on and fold, is this video over here on the right side. So if you're not feeling the most confident still in your ability to direct students through a guided activity, rest assured you have those video options all the way on the right side available to your students. So I really want you to keep in mind those guided activities. If we're still, I just went out of Adobe Express, sorry about that. If we're still getting our feet wet with the platform and not quite there in the full confidence level, but that's my hope by the end of today, those educator resources in this top row are excellent opportunities to get started with. I've also been sharing anybody looking to do more SEL with their classes. This bobblehead activity is an excellent one where you can then use your voice to describe an affirmation or anything along those lines. So wanted to start off just showing you both the Learn and Educator Resources tab. And I promise we're going to be getting into actual creation like right now, okay? So going back into our web page that has all the activities and links. We're going to have a little bit of a friendly debate here between our friends out in Salinas and me out here in Long Branch, New Jersey. I don't even know if I introduced myself at this point. Maybe I did. We're going to move on. I'm Alex Isaacs. But you're going to decide as to whether you want to remix a coffee or smoothie template. So I'm not going to take sides. You know, I enjoyed both at different points in time. Now that it's the summer, it's a nice coffee or a nice smoothie. But if you're in on this web page, you're going to be able to now click on either of these linked templates. And if you want, you can first click on it, take a look at it, and decide whether you like that one with coffee or if you like this one with the smoothie. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, I like the smoothie. I feel like it's a little bit more visually appealing, and I think it makes a little bit more sense to the eye. But if you want to do a coffee one, no problem at all. I'm happy to hear that. So what is your parents' perfect smoothie? We can now start by editing the text. To do that, you simply double click on the word that you want to change. And then once you're in on that text box, if you want to select something else, simply click and drag, or you can delete the text or anything along those lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this. What is my perfect smoothie? Okay, so we can very quickly edit the text by double clicking, changing it to fit our needs. You have some recommended fonts over here on the left side where if you hit view all, you actually see what the highlighted word or words will look like in those different fonts. Okay, so if I just wanted to add some emphasis just to the perfect with that slightly different font, and I'm going to change it a little bit more. Let's go this one. That looks weird. All right, we're going to keep it at that. You can do so. If you want to change the whole font within the text box, you can also use this drop-down menu, and you will also see how the text will look within that space. If you want to resize your text, you can bring the handle in to kind of change the layout with how many lines are taking place. And you can use those corner little circles to click and drag and resize it that way. Or with this number over here, I can go up and down to increase or decrease font size. So I don't want to go too fast here. At this point, you're selecting one of the two templates, whether it be the smoothie or coffee one within this web page right here. And we've only changed the title to What is My Perfect Smoothie? Okay? So you can see that some directions are added right here. I'm not going to delete them. You know, you have them up in front of you as well. Replace the colors and edit the text to create your graphic. So really now it's up to you. They gave you a list of different ones with these little rounded squares, and you also have these different components up top. So you can see that this generic template smoothie is yogurt, milk, spinach, pineapple, and berries. I've never done the spinach thing in a smoothie. Somebody out there, if you've done that, drop it in the chat. That feels like it would become bitter, but I suppose the berries would offset it. So let's say that strawberries are specifically the ones that I use compared to the berries that are listed here. So I've got this purple right here underneath. I'm going to click on it. Stephanie, good stuff. How are we doing with those spinach and berry type of smoothies? I know people do kale as well, and they do like the green type of drinks. I've heard good things. I don't know if I have the guts to really take that leap, though. I'm a traditional berry type of guy, peanut butter here and there, you know? So let's say that I'm going to now, that's awesome. Let's say that now I'm going to change this from the main base that I have, because to me, I'm always kind of math and analytical. To me, the bananas and the berries are about equal, but it looks like bananas are the main base. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these berries that are this kind of like purpley kind of color, And you're going to go over to this fill button over here on the left side. Just for the record, this one that has the red slash going through it, that's if you want to add an outline to your shape. I wouldn't recommend that at this point. We're going to click on the fill button. And I want that specific strawberry kind of pinkish red. And if you were in a session with me yesterday, you probably saw this. I can now take this dropper that's right up top over there, click on it. And you're not going to see my little dropper right now, but I assure you, if you try it over there at your homes, you can hover over whatever color you want underneath. And now you could see that that darker berries purple has now been updated to the lighter strawberries color, okay? Now, let's say that this yellow right here, to me, it kind of looks like a mango, and that is a big part of my smoothies. I love chopped up mango in there. Instead of changing the color in this case with the bananas, I'm going to do what we did earlier with the title. I'm simply going to double click on bananas and type in mango. You can go all caps if you like. And now that is already complete. So you're all set on that one. And one more thing before I let you all start to work on this, and we're going to give you plenty of time on this template to kind of explore and do what you like. If you have something in here that doesn't quite fit, like the color doesn't quite work, you can simply click on it, go to fill, and then select one of these other ones, either through custom or more colors, and then just make sure to change it up top as well. The only other thing that I might recommend, and this will actually help us in our next activity, is I would say go over to Elements and actually go to the Icons button, okay? And you can actually see, this is actually a very cool aspect of Adobe Express in addition to many other things. It's giving me ideas based on my file. It's reading my words and telling me, hey, there's a strawberry. I don't even need to search for it. So I'm now going to click on strawberry, and it gives me all of these different options. So if you want to take your beverage that you're going to be completing right now and bring it to the next level, go into those elements, go to your icons, and then click and bring them in to have them kind of be on with or within that colored space. And once you bring in your icon, you can then go to fill and change it to whatever color you like. So I'm going to be working on crafting my smoothie over here. If I went too fast and anybody needs some additional reinforcement, please let me know. But I suppose one other thing before I let you all work, this background here is kind of just like a very large image. If you do not like it, you can click on that like purplish gradient, click the delete button, and then you can select the background color option up top. And let's say that I wanted to get that purple from the Adobe. There you go. Now I've got it looking with a solid color, no gradient. So please let me know I can help. You are crafting your best smoothie or coffee while changing kind of the legend underneath to kick off our infographic session. Please keep me posted if you need anything in the chat or hopping off of mute. And as I'm going along, I'll probably drop some additional ideas on everybody that are, good tips that can help you out with your designs. I'm going to change my milk to coconut. I like when we throw that into some smoothies. And again, you can change those colors by simply clicking on the aspect that you want to change, the object or shape that you want to change. Go over to this fill rounded square over on the left side and select your option. And again, that dropper when you go into that fill, you got it right here next to the X up top, and that's where you can grab it. I'm going to bring peanut butter in for this one, and there you go. All right. Aaron, I'll drop it in. It's actually right here in the web page. Do you have this link up? If not, I can drop them in the chat for you. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll drop this web page back in the chat one more time. This is the one that has all the templates. And when you scroll down to activity 1, it's going to be your choice between the coffee or smoothie template. Okay. Keep me posted if you need anything. Of course. Happy to help. So if you're watching me at all, you can see that there are some really great icons available, right here within Adobe Express. And I'm liking how my smoothie's looking right now. That's pretty aggressive with like the acai bowl in the background. But you know what? I'm going to go with the aggressive. I'm going to do it. So when you go under elements, you'll also see the background tab. Click in whatever you like. I typed in smoothie, found this dragon fruit right here. You can also favorite any images or videos that you like within the Adobe stock footage. So if you feel like you don't need all these ingredients, because I want to kind of give the same, you know, emphasis on the coconut option compared to the other ingredients that I have here. I don't really put a lot of yogurt into my smoothie, so I can now take this very, very light pink one, just hit delete, go up to this white option, and now simply drag that handle up to kind of increase its size. Okay, and then if you're really hung up on that corner rounding, Thomas, have a great day. You can do the corner roundness, and that's going to allow you to kind of maintain that same aesthetic with the other aspects. All right. I am going to remove the directions now that I've kind of got my example set up. Don't think I need the arrows either. And just one more thing before I kind of let you continue to finish up. You got about 12 minutes left to kind of work on your either perfect coffee or perfect smoothie. Would love to have some individuals share their examples out there afterward. But let's say that you don't like the size of that smoothie container and you want to make it a little larger. You can click and drag. Whoa, I might stop doing that right now. Okay, so there's this little blob right here. All right, I'm going to forget what I just said. I don't like that you might be grabbing other stuff. So we're just going to leave that alone. My apologies. Okay. Please let me know if I can help anybody. And again, if anybody's feeling confident enough to share their perfect smoothie or coffee, would love to hear it at the end of this time. I can see that there was a border on the coconut or the milk square underneath. If you want to add that border to everything, you can kind of click on each of these squares while holding shift, or you can click on them individually. And then this right side, that's your outline color. I can go black and make those a little bit more prominent all underneath. Can anybody else hear me right now? I hope people can hear me. All right. Is it Anali? Did I get that right? I guess you can't hear me. Thank you, everybody, for letting me know. Anali, I hope you can figure it out. Maybe try restarting your device. How are we doing out there? Because if I can cut this a little bit shorter than the remaining 8 minutes so that we can get to other stuff, I would be happy to do that. So keep me posted. Oh, Stephanie, let me take a look. Ooh, even added the heat lines on top. Looking good. I love it. And your very interesting legend underneath. Very interesting. I like it a lot. Looks great. I appreciate you sharing. Wonderful. Glad to hear that you're back and you can hear me. So if anybody else finishes and you would like to kind of do something while everyone else is still working, feel free to click on that Adobe Express icon in the top right corner. And feel free to go into the templates or educator resources tab and take a look at your content area to see what would be appropriate for you, because you're eventually going to all pick out a template that's one that is really appropriate for you. I'm sure I am not strong enough up on my T game to understand what they're doing across the pond, Stephanie. So I respect it, believe me. One other thing that my first session I did, I was wonderful with this. I'm losing it over time. I did it earlier today and messed this up. Above your design, you'll see the time and date that the design or remix was started. Feel free to change the title to something more specific. Everything saves automatically, so you don't have to worry about losing your work. And I'm going to say Alex's Best Smoothie. I've got a place called Griffey's near me out here in New Jersey that does wonderful, good, organic type of stuff. But Stephanie, feel free to explore some different templates, maybe a different guided activity that has those video instructions built right in, depending on your content area and grade level. I think that'd be a good use of time. We are going to do a guided activity soon enough, but this is just kind of the start. So we've got about 5 minutes left in about 40 seconds. But what I'm going to do, and again, I'm prefacing this with people who have been in a session with me, you know probably almost what's coming. But what we're going to do is we're going to give you a few more minutes to kind of work on your coffee or smoothie, and then we're going to show you how to elevate this with your voice. Stephanie, I'm happy to hear that. I just hope it's the updated classes. You know, I've heard that it's the clever classes from last year for some of us. So I'll give everybody a couple more minutes to put the finishing touches on the design piece without the audio. And again, my apologies for anybody getting the repeats. We're going to show you how in 3 different ways you can add audio to your designs to really get those kids to connect with visual thinking. So while I can appreciate that infographics are often printed out and hung up on walls and all of that good stuff, creating digital versions that can either be shared or curated or assigned as a project, it's a great option for students. And again, we're going to show you how to dynamically add voice to this activity in just a few moments. So you do not have to follow what I'm doing right now. What I'm actually doing is I'm going to delete a couple of these boxes and such just to kind of give myself a little bit more room underneath, because I'm going to want to bring in character animator. I think that would be a great way to really describe why this is your best smoothie or cup of coffee. So I'm going to bring up just the ones that I used in this design, or in my recipe, so to speak. All right. All right, so strawberry, mango, coconut, and peanut butter. I got to say, I'm ready right now for this smoothie. All right. So I cleared myself a little bit of room. I'm going to highlight, oh gosh, I'm going to highlight all of that. Kind of bring it up a little bit more, just so I got a little bit more room. Do not worry about this. You'll be able to tuck your character in on the side, or if you're doing a voiceover, you won't need any space. So don't worry about that. Okay. Any questions out there before I keep going, kind of showing you the next level of this smoothie? And then we'll have the opportunity to share as well. Again, thank you, Stephanie, for sharing yours. If anybody would like to see Stephanie's awesome tea example that was created by her and remixed, please use that blue link in the chat. I'm definitely going to hang on to that one. It's a nice one, Stephanie. I like it. Okay, so multiple ways to add your voice, of course. Multiple ways to add your voice to a design within Adobe Express. We can obviously see that this is a static graphic right now. I want to add a dynamic of voice about my perfect smoothie right here. Okay, so you're going to select media. And now the first option is to go to video. When you click on video, you'll see this gray record yourself option. This is Adobe's new front-facing camera. It's brand new, within the last few months, not even. If you click there, very basic recording tool that you can use right here, where I can go up to 5 minutes and click start recording. This is my perfect smoothie because it really quenches my thirst in the summer. Oof, what an off-the-cuff little ramble right there. You can now preview your video. Again, can't share audio because I'm doing 2 different accounts between the Meet and Adobe Express. I assure you I am talking right there. If you feel good about it, you can click Save Recording, and I can now resize myself with that corner circle, zoom in a bit, and now bring this all the way underneath. What you also probably noticed, and I'm just going to tuck it in for one moment, is you notice that timeline pops up right there. Okay, and the reason why that happens is, I don't know what happened there. The reason why that happens is because now we have a video or audio element. So this static graphic has now turned into a video where, depending on the length of my clip, I've been pausing myself in horrible positions all day. I don't think I have a good pause face in any way, shape, or form. Let me see. That's actually not bad for me. You now have a fully functioning video underneath your infographic. Now, I had an individual in the previous session, I believe it was Sophia, who said, hey, I've got a group of 8th grade kids. They don't want to have that camera staring them right in the face. And I can fully appreciate that. And I experienced that as an 8th grade math teacher back in the day. So I can fully appreciate that. I'm going to get rid of my angry, confused looking face. And now we're going to click on audio under that media button all the way to the left. Now you do have the option to upload an MP3. I believe you can go up to 2 minutes and 100 gigabytes. I might be wrong about that. We'll see it under animate characters. But if you have a voice memo on your phone that's an MP3, you can now upload that from your device using that purple option. But let's say that you want your students adding voice. You want to add your voice to an infographic to provide some additional context to your students with whatever concept you're trying to really get across to them. You can click record voiceover. And again, I always try to look at tools with a jaundiced eye from the perspective of, let me say I had no tech experience. If I got to this voiceover tool, would I be intimidated? And I would say no. Now that's me still having that tech background, but it's really about making sure you've got your correct microphone selected. The purple and red is how loud I'm talking. I'm going to try to talk lower so as to not blow anybody's ears off. And then you have the enhanced speech option available to you right here, which is going to make those microphones that are not the best sound higher quality, like a studio sound, so to speak. So in this case, you can click the start recording button. This is my favorite summer smoothie ever. Hit stop recording. I would hope your kids would do a better reflection than that. And again, considering we don't have the ability to share audio, I'm not going to really bother with playing this for you. But what you'll see underneath now is that green bar, and that is my audio. And you just saw a pop-up that said enhanced speech applied. Now, the nice thing is that enhanced speech can be applied after the fact, even if you've already brought in your audio, so you don't have to worry about that. Promise this is the last one, and then I'm going to let you all explore these tools. I'm going to get rid of this voiceover. Because if you take nothing away from these events that I've taught in, and for people who have been with me before out in the chat, I think you'll appreciate that I have been a very big proponent of the animate characters beta button that is underneath here under videos and audio tabs. So this time we're going to click on animate characters. Now, I want to say that there are some foodstuffs in here. So at this point, I'm scrolling through and I want to find something appropriate. Okay, there is a carrot, but I don't have any carrots in my smoothie. So I'm going to keep looking. There's a pumpkin, no pumpkin in the smoothie. Anything else that is food related? There is an avocado and hey, for all my coffee friends out there, take a good look. And I'm pretty sure, Stephanie, that could be applied to tea as well. You want a lovely, cute little coffee cup that has its arms out like that. I would think that that's a perfect one right there. However, considering, actually, you know what? This could kind of be a smoothie, right? Soda pop, even though we know it's a soda, like that could be a smoothie, just not in a transparent cup. So you know what? I'm going to go soda pop this time. And just make sure that under background, you have transparent selected. So it looks like for uploading, if you want your character to speak your upload, which you can do as well, up to 2 minutes, and I'm sorry, it was 1 gigabyte per upload. And just a quick little aside, had an activity back in the day that I did with a group of people that was to make your own coin. My creative mind goes to, you know what, I'm going to make a Yoda coin. So all of my Star Wars fans out there, I did do or do not, there is no try. Made that coin probably about 5 months ago. I said, you know what? I want to get that actual MP3 of Yoda. I want to upload it in, and I want to see how it goes. Now, if I could share audio with you, I would do it. However, I did upload the audio from the actual movie. It was license free, so we were good on that. And it sounded wonderful, and the lip sync looked great. I don't remember which character I chose. I think I just did the mouth only. But enough about Star Wars. I've got my character fully visible in my transparent background space. I've got enhanced speech checked off, and now I'm going to hit record. This is my favorite smoothie because it incorporates the best fruit in the world, mangoes. All right, I don't know. I'm losing it at this point with so many sessions, but I did my very best. When you're done doing the animate character, and you're done recording yourself, and again, I always tell everybody, have kids have a script available to them. You know, they can even work on their fluency while they're reading a script and hopefully practicing that good inflection. You're going to see that it doesn't take very long, depending on how long your clip is. And by the end of that export, I'm going to have this lovely version of, even though it said soda pop, and I believe it's part of the movie theater stuff. When I zoom in now, I now have, why does that keep happening to me? Okay, here we go. I now have my soda pop friend that I can either put on the side or bring him to the bottom. I'm going to tuck in this video timeline for just a moment. I got him down in the middle. And now, even though you probably won't be able to hear him right now, I still just want to play it for you briefly to show the arm, leg, and body movements and mouth movement. Now you can see that I stopped quickly. This would be wonderful for world language classes, Stephanie. Absolutely agreed. And just on an aside with world language, I said this yesterday, had an individual at a training speak French, and the lip sync went very well. And he chose a frog as well, right on the nose. But it really did work pretty well. So I can say that too. So now I've got my character. If you noticed a little something, it did kind of get cut off at the end. I'm going to bring the timeline back up. And if you were in on my video session with me, you know why it got cut off a little bit. When you choose to record your voiceover or your video or your animate character in just a few moments, and we'll give you plenty of time to explore it, if you get any of this grayed out portion, whether it be the video or the green audio underneath, take that scene bar right here and drag it over to the right. Let me go back out and make sure everything is showing. So now if I click here, okay. So I want to keep clicking and dragging until that whole video is completely black and no longer showing that kind of grayed out look to it. Where now if I zoom in, there's Soda Pop looking sharp right there. And I hit play. So I'm sorry. I just had a math session with a group of math teachers, did a wonderful job. If you're doing a bell ringer activity with your kids and it is read aloud by a character like this, or You're giving a hint to students who need it with this little audio character in the bottom corner of your design or infographic, or you're simply providing an explanation of the infographic to kind of get on that deeper level. Are kids going to be engaged by this more than the traditional infographic? I think that I mean, if anybody drops a no in the chat, I'm ready to debate. But to me, I know that some of my kids, some of the most, at times, obstinate individuals found this platform engaging. And I'm really disappointed. This is my one little gripe with the platform. I left the classroom and then they brought in all these cool characters. So this voice animator is not available about 3 years ago when I was teaching in the classroom still, but now it is. And I have used Character Animate from 1st to 12th grade in my school district in so many multitude of ways, getting people to reflect on their learning to make it stick just a little bit better. So at this point, we're at 4:52. We're about an hour and 20 minutes out from concluding the symposium. Is there a closing keynote? I don't want to speak out of turn here and confuse anybody. Does anybody know if there's a closing keynote today? But okay, well then this is it. We're going to close out with some amazing Adobe Express professional learning, and we're going to hopefully go into a lovely weekend. I hope you got the best weather in the world out there in Cali. But at this point, I'm going to be quiet because preferably you're all kind of recording a little bit of a rationale or explanation or something fun relating to your infographic on a smoothie or a cup of coffee. Okay, so I'm going to be quiet here. Any questions, drop them off the chat or hop off of mute. And if I do drop any more ideas in, I'm going to make sure to be as quiet as I can.
Alex, I have a question, please.
Stephanie, yes.
So you said if we do have a slide presentation, we can upload it into Adobe, and then we could add then character animations to it.
That is exactly what Sophia in my previous session brought up. You got that great slide deck, download it as a PDF,
right?
Bring it into the editing PDF tool, and I believe you then gain access to the full suite of tools, being able to add in that animate character to your design.
Okay, great.
You got it.
Excellent. Okay, now here's my question. I know you also do Wakelet.
How do you know that?
Because I do Wakelet.
Okay, so we're on the Wakelet wave.
Yes, on the Wakelet wave.
With Wakelet right now, but talk to me, Stephanie.
Right. So here's my question. So I'm seeing the portfolio, right?
Okay.
And it's like, okay. So, between the two,
yeah.
I haven't dived deeply into Adobe's portfolio.
Yeah. Sure.
Does it have the same capacity as what you can do to Wakelet, or it's more simplistic? You do it for just what you're doing in class.
Stephanie, you're putting me in a tough position here because I'm being recorded, but I'm going to keep it real with you. The main benefit of Wakelet, and I'll try to talk quietly if anybody's recording out there. The main benefit of Wakelet is the ability to bring in any file type into that portfolio and make it visual. That's not quite available yet in an Adobe web page. Now, if you do not need to do anything beyond links, videos, images, text, that kind of stuff, an Adobe web page would be an excellent opportunity to create a portfolio that would probably be even easier to manage for your students if you want to show that growth over time. So while I'm very passionate about my digital portfolio on there, as you can tell, I do feel that an Adobe Express web page that students are kind of curating through the year would be an excellent option for you and them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You got it. So I'm just moving the little key here over to the side so I can make my smoothie guy a little bit more prominent as quietly as I can so as to not disturb anybody recording. If you don't like the orientation of your character, you can click on them, go to position, and then you can go flip horizontal or flip vertical. That's making me kind of sick to my stomach, but you can do it that way as well. Okay. All right, I think he's looking pretty good right there. Jen, good to see you again. Thanks for popping in. 2 for 2 today on the recording. All right, so I'm going to give everybody probably about 5 more minutes to record those reflections, finish up their coffee and or smoothie designs. And then at the end of that time, I'm going to show you how to share, and hopefully we get some additional links in addition to Stephanie's tea composition that she shared earlier. And Stephanie, what we can do is when we get to the sharing, I'll show you how to update your link. If you add in your little character, will then be reflected within your design, okay? If you would like to add in music to your infographic, make it even more kind of to life, although I think we're skirting on the edge of probably beyond, even extra. You can go to your audio tab under media, type in a type of music. I typed in classical, and it was a great question yesterday. Somebody asked me, can you do voice and music? And you can have it kind of layered on top of each other. So you have those options as well. We are down to about 3 minutes left for our first real activity. And if there's anybody who's fully done, I want you to start thinking about what aspects you do on a certain day, maybe even today, because we're going to be doing a day in data next. I guess one more thing that I can share with you, and I apologize, I keep saying I'm going to be quiet. I'm trying to put my quiet Alex voice on. If you don't like the coloring of your figure that you brought in, if you did animate character, you can click on them. Go to Effects. And then you can click on View All. And let's say that I want to go with this more like pink style, or I want to kind of match that dragon fruit up top with this red, although that looks a little aggressive, I would say. You do have options to kind of go with these different duotones. You can go grayscale if you want to go for like a vintage type of feel. You can also simply darken them, or you can even make your own duotone. Oh gosh, that looks very frightening. So you do have many options, even to the point of changing the color of your animated characters. And Stephanie, one more thing, you were talking to me about the portfolio piece. You know, when you look at these different web pages that I shared that kind of walk you through the session today, it's going to kind of be a top down, kind of straight vertical. Just depends on your layout. But that other collection that you saw, that's kind of that columns layout. You don't have those different layout aesthetics available within here. So it would kind of just be a stream web page kind of deal. But as you can see, you can upload an artifact on the left and then provide text or other graphics on the right. Okay. Well, there's the timer. Give everybody about 30 more seconds to close out. Hopefully you explored this audio option. As I've told many people this week, I've seen high school students get engaged, adults, children, when they see that mouth moving with their voice. And again, have that script available to kids. They're not having to stare down the barrel of a forward-facing camera. And it really adds a touch of engagement to an infographic. So, this is kind of my reimagining of that original template. I suppose at this point, I can kind of take these text boxes and kind of these aspects of the key and bring them down a little bit. If anybody's wondering, for me to be able to highlight multiple things at once, great pro tip here. You press and hold the shift button while you're clicking on the different elements, and that allows you to kind of group them. And then once you have everything selected, if you want to group those items, where now as soon as I click on one of them, they're able to be moved around, you're ready to go. So again, you have the option to preview it with that play button underneath. But at this point, and Stephanie, it might be a little bit different for you considering you already created a share link and you have that background knowledge. We are going to select the share option. And you're going to scroll down to the middle of this little window that pops up, and you're going to select View Only Link. Now, if you wanted people who were looking at this design of yours to be able to change it and edit it while making their own copy, not impacting yours, you can click on this Allow Others to Remix. But in this case, I don't really think it's that important. But if you were ever to make like a infographic sample that you wanted to provide to your kids, you would be able to do that and have them remix that one once you go to the View Only link. So I'm going to select Create Link. And for whatever it's worth, it might take a few moments here, but what I can say is Stephanie previously shared that link with us, sharing about her favorite cup of tea. If you make any additional edits after creating that View Only link, you have to update the link for people to see what was changed most recently. So you can see that once that View Only link is created, I can now go copy link, and I'm going to drop this in so that you can all hear my soda pop guy, if you like. But what you'll also see is this update purple link button in the bottom right corner. And that is very important, because if I were to go back into this design and I were to delete my soda pop friend, it totally makes this infographic more sad now. That soda pop guy would still be in when you click on that link and check it out until I go back to share, go to View Only link, and then click on that update link. But I don't want to do that because I enjoyed having my little friend there down at the bottom. Okay. So if you feel like sharing, please get that View Only link and pop it into the chat for your favorite smoothie and/or coffee. Maybe we can pick a winner between these two groups, although we also have tea involved, thinking outside the box. But, think about what we did here and how that voice adds that reflective component for you and your students. Any aspect of a design, graphic, video, image, otherwise, you have the ability to add meaningful reflections, meaningful voice that helps you better get to know students and helps them better get to know you. I want to make that very clear. Having an activity like this or sharing an Adobe Express activity that's you made about you, that would be so great for them to kind of have that knowledge and understanding about your interest, how you spend your time. And I'm very excited to introduce the next activity to you to kind of show you this in like a firsthand way. Now, let's say you don't want to share your link as a View Only option. You just want to download this and then upload it into your Google Classroom. All you got to do is hit download up here. If you added in any audio, video, any types of components like that, it will automatically default to MP4. But you have all of these different options available to you, including a PNG, which is best for images. You can also make GIFs. So I would tell you, one of the best things that I did with kids for fun was making SEL GIFs and SEL memes. And they did a great job using this platform while doing that. So if SEL is a focus in your class, kids can do affirmations with the characters. You have so many different options. It's really just the limit of your imagination and what content area you're in, because this applies to all. All right, so I'm going to say goodbye to my smoothie for now. and I'm back on this main web page right here, and we're looking at activity 2. Now, Tanya's Day in Data. Tanya is a fabulous Adobe representative who was formerly an evangelist. Now she's one of the higher ups on their education team. If you want to check out her example, you could do that by clicking the exemplar link right here. She brought in a calculator to kind of talk about her day and how it's broken up. But at this point, we're ready to get started on our next activity. If you are on this web page, you are going to select this button that says My Day in Data Guided Activity. And it should bring you in to this one right here. So just in case anybody out there is struggling to get in, I'm going to copy this link address for the specific template. I believe that's the one. And again, just as an aside, as we wait for everybody to join us, this is one example where if I go into math, you'll see this day in data. That is this guided activity. So when you go in, you should see this video over here on the right, ready to go. So what I'm going to do here, and then I'm going to let you explore this tool, is you're going to select a day in your life that you want to kind of break down. Now, if I do have any math teachers out there, I love being able to use this activity in order to create a misleading graph. I would really enjoy being able to do that. I think that once you see how the percentages kind of break up, you'll see how there's an opportunity for this here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first double click on Ruby's, and I'm going to go Alex's. And I am going to change the date. Let's go with July. Let's do yesterday. Let's go with July 24th. We're dog sitting currently here in New Jersey, my fiance and I. And when I tell you the sleep has been a challenge because this dog just attacks the bed at random times at night, I mean it. So all we've done so far, besides that aside, is double click the name. Whoops. Double click the name and edit it to fit yours. And I went underneath, double clicked on the month and changed it to July, and then finally change that date to the 24th. One more time, you want to change that font, click on the text box that you want to change, click this drop down and choose something different. Ooh, I like this one. Yeah, that's fancy. I like that one. So we've changed the name, we've changed the date. The date isn't so important. You don't have to have everything accurate. We're not doing this to the T. We're just kind of showing you icons and the different like graphing and chart tools. Now, the next thing we're going to do, who was it? It was Ruby. That's the individual here in the middle. I'm going to click on Ruby right there. And you should see that replace option right above her. Now, if you have a picture of yourself handy, beautiful. If you don't, can you try to get one onto your computer really quick? I would love to have that. But if not, and you want to put this into like a curricular aspect, you're more than welcome to go find a Google image, download it, and then I'm going to show you what to do in order to replace this photo of Ruby. So you're going to see that replace button right up top when you click on any image that was like brought in. And in this case, you could go videos, you could go photos from Adobe stock footage. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go replace with upload. And now this is where you all, okay, you're not seeing my menu that kind of has everything in it, but you will be seeing an example of me that I have used far too much. Give me one moment. Here it is. So I can fully appreciate the fact that this is my midsection and an arm. The reason why that is happening is because the image is kind of centered based on what I brought in. If you bring in an image and your head is cut off or something like that, simply double click and drag to the portion that you want showing. So now I've got that lovely James Bond light, pointing my finger. That was at my kids' moving up ceremony in 2022, I want to say. Looking very similar despite the more gray in the goatee. I apologize for that. But you can then also resize. I'm sorry, I clicked the wrong one. I don't know why this keeps happening, so I'm going to leave it alone. Now, let's say that you brought in an image of yourself, and I don't want that blue background. I liked Ruby's blank background. You can click on your image, and now go over here to the dog all the way on the left side to the left of the erase sunglasses and hit remove background. And in seconds, I'm now just a very clean looking PNG of myself pointing and really trying to be aggressive with my fervor for EdTech. So at this point, showed you how to change the text one more time, showed you how to replace the image, where again, if anybody was kind of exploring other stuff or lost pace, click on the image in the middle, go replace, and then either choose a photo from Adobe Express or go replace with upload. Okay, I'll give everybody a few moments there. Now, the last thing is the slightly most involved, but I would still say not really. If you click anywhere within the legend or on the chart, you will see this new pop-up window show up over here on the left. I don't think I really have to tell everybody this, but I'm just going to share it anyway. All of these numbers have to add up to 24 hours because there's 24 hours in a day, and we're trying to show what data we have based on that. Now, what's really nice about this is the percentages over on the right side are going to update automatically. So you don't really have to worry about that, but that's where that misleading graph I talked about for my math friends out there comes into play. I could cover up those percentages. Okay, I could cover those up, and then I could have it where I'm putting in my own to see if my kids could kind of pick that out. But at this point, I told you sleep was very hard to come by. I did not get 8 hours of sleep on the 24th. I would say I'm probably looking at about 4. So when I type in 4 and hit enter, you probably saw that graph over on the right side change. I'm going to undo what I just did one more time. I'm going back in. Winnie the cockapoo ruined my night Wednesday into Thursday. I'm changing the sleep to 4 hours and hitting enter. You can see now that all of the bars, or excuse me, all those sections of my donut chart have kind of been resized. The percentages have now been updated based on, 4 out of 24 hours, or however else the breakdown of hours goes here. So I'm going to keep sleep. I'm gonna keep it at 4 hours right there. Soccer practice, no chance. I'm going to say reading. And I'm going to say I took about an hour. Hit enter. Again, you'll see that donut chart kind of change. Now, here's the last kind of step. You're going to figure out your hours, your values for this. You could change the labels. You could change the colors if you like. You can even add an additional item above or below, or delete a whole row. Like, let's say all of these are not necessary for you. I didn't see my friends yesterday. I'm going to delete that row right now. But if you're looking at my design, you can kind of see that there's, those icons. The moon, the soccer ball. Some of them are not appropriate. Others of them are now missized or in the wrong space. I'm going to definitely get rid of the soccer ball. And I'm going to get rid of these two as well, because that big green section is school. Now, I showed you icons earlier for this specific reason. We're going to go over to elements, and I'm going to type in school. And when you look under icons, you have all of these different options. Now, if you want to get fancy, again, I don't want to be blowing any kids' minds out there with an infographic. But if this is a digital version and you want to really make it fancy, you could very easily go down and, let's say, grab this sticker. And instead of using those icons, why is this not showing up? I will try it one more time. I believe I chose the book one. Okay, interesting. So the stickers are not working quite now. We're going to move on. I'm going with the icons. See, I tempted fate, and it was my mistake right there. Sticking with the icons of the different schools. I like the look of this one. I bring it in. I'm going to resize it and add it into that green space, because that's the time that I spent at school. So are there any questions out there before I let everyone have at least about 15 minutes on this template as well to kind of share their day and data? And I'm also going to give you that chance So if you want to add that animated character or your voiceover to give a little bit more context, you could do that too. But at this point, anybody has any questions or needs any clarification, please let me know. But you also have that video over on the right side available to you. So don't forget about that either. Okay, so please keep me posted if I can help. I will complete my day in data. I can actually show you an additional example of one that I made. Let's do that. This is one that I really took my time on. And again, I just want to make it clear, we're not looking for perfection today. We're just looking for some practice and hopefully some fun. You know what I mean? All right, let's go here. So I'm going to add a page. This is my actual day in data for a day last year. And you can see I went with very neon style colors. Really took it there as far as making it bright and bold. Did some text effects with the outline over there. And this is actually a little bit more close. So if you want to know what I'm about, this is kind of my breakdown. Some sports talk, sleep, golf here and there. Video games is a rare occurrence for me these days, but feel free to work on your day in data. Keep me posted if you need anything, and I'll be here kind of doing little edits here and there. So I'm going to give everybody until about 5:35. I think that's a good spot right there. So let's go 17 minutes. Okay. Feel free to add that audio or that animate character. If you'd like to go back to your smoothie or coffee infographic, feel free to do that as well. And the most recent link in the chat is the direct link to this activity. I hope everybody will be able to complete it. If anybody has any errors or bugs or any issues, let me know. I've been taking names in the best possible way. I sounded aggressive right there. I've been taking names down. I'm taking your names down and trying to get things up and running for individuals who might be running into some friction. So please let me know if you're experiencing any issues or if you have any questions. So we're at this point in the web page that has all the professional learning opportunities. And again, if you would like to see Tanya Averith's Adobe Express Extraordinaire, her exemplar, just click on that red link right here. Definitely, it's great to know that we follow each other on Twitter, and great to see a Wakelet user as well.
Right? I love
Are
it.
you ready for Community Week, presenting at all? Anything like that?
Oh, no, 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 no,
Okay,
no, no. Just,
just
we
taking it in.
I I I presented with Deb at, school library month.
Oh, that's awesome. Deb Zeman?
Yes.
That's great. She's an
Right.
excellent
An
trainer.
Adobe. She's an Adobe. She was just in San Francisco. Were you just in San Francisco for the big?
I was not. I got 12 months here and I couldn't take that time away. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. I did the New York one. That's the only one I've been to. That was a couple of years ago.
Nice. Very
That's
nice.
awesome. Yeah, I'm getting a little worried about Wakelet with the kind of mass exodus going on with some people that are really great ed tech
Oh,
professionals. So
really? Oh, that's not good.
can't believe it, but hoping for the best at the same time.
That is not good. Well, I think it's probably because of all the, pay for this and that, and not so much, who knows?
It's not the monetization process that they set up might not have been the best. That's as kind as I can kind of be, but always
Exactly.
passionate about that tool as well. And I know they just partnered with Adobe Express where you can use the full suite of tools in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you do got that option.
Exactly.
Where are you at with Adobe? Do you have your level 1 or level 2?
No, I haven't even started doing that yet, and I
Okay.
definitely want to.
Yeah, I mean, you
But,
get a
I
better
mean, I've been using Adobe when it was Adobe Suite, like back in the dark ages, right? When
okay.
it was Photoshop and all of that and whatnot. So this is great. I'm super excited with this. I think just this for like the infographics and everything, much easier than Canva.
Definitely got some great. I always say Adobe Express is the aspect that I want to create stuff that's really dynamic and eye-catching. So I agree with your sentiments there wholeheartedly. But I would definitely tell you, you're going to get a badge for today within about 7 working days.
Oh,
I would
wow.
tell you, at least get the level 1, at
Oh,
least get the level 1. Definitely.
yeah. Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I'm going to go and do all of these, um, because yeah, there's a lots of new and upcoming things with the school year and whatnot, really focusing on trying to do AI literacy.
Okay. So
I've done,
media specialist, Stephanie?
I'm the teacher librarian.
Okay, teacher librarian. Okay.
And well, I know back east or whatever. I don't know if they have all the different names, blah, blah. I just came home from back east. So I
Well,
was in.
ed tech coaches is the same thing. Instructional technology coach,
Right,
tech coach, all kinds of stuff,
right, exactly.
All
Exactly.
kinds of
I mean,
media.
I've been doing tech from like, decades.
Well, that's awesome. I'm really happy to hear. I was glad to see that we're already connected on there.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely love the idea of creating our own bookmarks with Adobe Express, maybe with a QR code of an affirmation or something like that. Love it.
Right. Oh, no, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of great things to do. And especially with the students, things that, it's like creating the logo and whatnot. Like, so then I'm thinking, so what I just did with students, because I did the summer bridge program for incoming 9th graders, I had them create their signatures for their emails.
Okay, I love
So
it.
we did that with Canva.
Okay,
And so I was like, oh, I'm sure we could do it here as well, obviously.
sure
And
can.
so be like, okay, these are, great things. And I'm excited. I'm
Happy
excited.
with Stephanie.
Well,
Happy to hear.
I was like when they first put Adobe, I think it was last year, and I
Mhm.
thought, oh, I thought we were getting all of this.
Yeah,
And it was, oh no, just like a signature thing. I said, what?
really.
And I did ask. I was like, oh, could we get, well, because um,
I'm surprised because it's free K-12, obviously,
so I don't know. But anyway, so I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited,
Awesome.
and, all these things.
Well, you got a direct line to me via X. So you
Right.
ever need anything, you feel free to DM me anytime. I'm happy to help. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right, everybody, time check, about 7.5 minutes left to really make those days in data shine. I'll pull my example back up for everybody. This is one I did previously. Broke it down to only 6 categories. Love my sports talk, listening about my Yankees and Jets and Rangers and the Knicks and all the sad teams that I root for, unfortunately.
They are not. The Rangers are great.
Well, Rangers, 3rd grade, got a Stanley Cup, Stephanie, but I was 9. So, it's a tough one. Jets, never in my lifetime. Knicks, never in my lifetime. And Yankees are the only one that's really kept me afloat. But in recent years, not so much. So
Well, it's all right. It's all right.
we still stand by them. And I will say this, for everybody out there, if there are any real football fans, the first year that Aaron Rodgers came to the Jets, I did a voice animate character with the football. And he proceeded to rupture his Achilles 4 days later on that opening night game. So, I have that kind of, juju to me that I could ruin a Jets season with animate character. And that's one that really stands out that just hurt me greatly. But hopefully better luck for any of my football fans out there. I would assume Chargers and 49ers and that kind of stuff out in Cali.
I'm all for the Eagles.
Stephanie, now, those are fighting words.
Look, I am not a football person, so everybody will come and hate me. But, I'm just so thrilled with, the players who bring in, it's like, oh, you sit on the sideline and you're reading a book? Oh my gosh.
You know what? You got a heck of a point with the wide receiver and the quarterback, I believe, over there, who were reading books on the sidelines. What I would venture to say that would be something you bring up to kids when they come into the school year. No, I would use that as a real world example of the importance of reading.
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Again, if you've finished your day in data, depending on whether you've added audio or not, you can go up to this share button right up here and go view only link, and then hit create link, and that will allow you to actually share it as a link with the group if you like. I feel like this would be a fun opening activity for kids. Yeah, I don't know how high up, but I think up to the groups that I taught, 8th grade, I do believe that if this was like a getting to know you type task, I do think they would enjoy doing this, especially when you add in that element of the character animator. So I'm going to drop my example into the chat right now. If you'd like to explore it, you can. I guess I could have added in my own character animator there, but we'll keep it as that's kind of me for just about to hit the fall. It was September 20th of last year. But that's usually the day.
Right. Yeah, definitely a great start to introduction, right?
Absolutely. A little bit of getting to know you in a very kind of quantitative way. You get those kids who think that way. I love it. A little bit of cross-curricular with the math piece. I think it's a great opportunity.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
see, Martha Bongiorno.
Of course.
She's big.
She's also excellent. One of the newest evangelists with Adobe.
I know.
She's the best.
Yeah.
They're all excellent. I've been to a couple of creativity institutes around them. Wesi, I don't know if you've ever met Wesi, one of the, amazing woman, just so wonderful, so welcoming and kind, although they all are. But Wesi just really stands out. I also saw her do a keynote speech one time. It was wonderful. All right. We got about a little less than 3 minutes left. After this, we're going to just kind of show you how to explore templates that are really specific and infographic templates that are really specific to your content area. We'll give you an opportunity to kind of remix those. We'll show you about classrooms and assignments, and then we're going to call it at that point. So we got about 45 minutes left or so. I hope it's moving quickly for everybody out there. And I hope we're enjoying the activities so far selected by Adobe. About a minute left, everybody. And we'll give you a little bit more of a chance to explore kind of what Adobe offers in the form of templates, specifically for infographics. But so many different templates, posters, many options to share with your students. So with the last minute, one more time, if you want to share it, click on that share button, go to view only link, and then if you haven't created one yet, you'll get that option to create one, then simply copy the link and you'll be good to go. And one thing else, before we get into classrooms and kind of closing out and showing you more infographic templates, I want you to keep in mind that purple assign button in the top right corner. Okay, that's going to be something where once Clever rolls over to the new school year for you, you're able to assign directly from any design that you're editing or creating. That's a great quick assign option within Adobe Express. All right. Don't know if you can hear the timer, but it just went off. I'm holding you to it at this point. I think that was enough time for the day and data. If not, you're going to have a moment, in just a moment, the opportunity to go back and kind of explore it a little bit more and add more personalization to your design. So at this point in the activity, we again gave you that chance to record audio in one of 3 ways or bring in your own video if you chose to do so. And we've completed our day and data. Again, you can click on this exemplar right here to see Tanya Averith. She's fantastic. She also added in an animation as well. And she did a generative AI version of herself in the middle over there. But at this point, we're going to scroll down to activity 3. And this one's going to be a lot more freedom. This is going to kind of take into account your content area, your grade level, etc. So if you get to activity 3, you'll see this search, remix, and customize. Check out all our educator resources. And when you click on that, I already showed you this space. However, what I want to make sure that we understand is, let's say that I am a language arts teacher and I'm high school. These are all standard aligned classroom activities that are beyond the guided activities that have those video instructions built right in. Now, what I actually found out earlier today is the fact that they linked Learn videos into other templates. So if a Learn video relating to like a poster for generating an image would be appropriate, they gave you that video. So if I were to click on, okay, I want my kids to kind of make an infographic for analyzing a poem in high school level, I'm going to click on this one. You can now preview it. You can also look at many more like this underneath. But once you click Customize Template, you're going to get brought right in. Looks like they cut and pasted a poem in, figurative language used, author's perspective, author's craft. Now, this is something that I actually think I forgot to do in this session, but I'm going to do it quickly before I kind of show you a little bit more of how you can explore very granularly. And Stephanie, thank you for sharing me. I'm definitely going to open that up in just a moment. What you can do, and this is one of the most important aspects of teaching for me, especially when I was a math teacher, is this translate button, making inclusive and accessible materials for not only students, but also their families. So if any of you, Stephanie, I would assume that you have some type of night where you have people come out to your library in order to learn more about what you do, at the very least back to school night. So if you are trying to make the most accessible flyers, the most accessible infographics for our multilingual, our emerging bilingual students, whatever name we're placing upon them, you can use this translate feature quickly, effectively, and make it where no student is going to be at a disadvantage as a result of the verbiage on the page. So once you click that translate button, you'll notice that all of the text boxes became kind of highlighted. Now, I do got to do a little caveat. You bring in an image that has text in it, it is not going to translate that text. This has to be text boxes within Adobe Express. And what separates this from some of the platforms that Stephanie had mentioned before, it allows you to do multiple languages at once. So I'm going to go Spanish, Portuguese, and I am going to go, I had a student who spoke Bangla. I used that back in the day. I'm going to go, let's go German. Why not? Once you have your language is selected, you do have the option of changing the tone of voice. I'll be honest with you. I've never touched that one. Whatever tone I have in English, I want to kind of keep it as is. Stephanie, does that mean that we have Arabic or no? It looks like, okay. You know what, Stephanie? I'll make a note of that. I know that not all languages work with these AI models when they get translated, but if I can get Arabic in there, I will definitely do it. All right, we're going to click translate. And I'm telling you in seconds, okay? I'm looking over at my second screen right now. By the time I look back over, okay, I kind of did that. One or more words violate our terms of use on page 1. Oh gosh, so within that new Colossus poem, there might have been something that was a little dicey, so please don't hold that against me. However, you are going to see that now this has been translated into Spanish, with above it the little parentheses with the language, and you can now see Portuguese as well. Now, I will say, you might have to resize the text a little bit. Glad you're enjoying it, Stephanie. I think it's one of the best tools on this platform. You might have to resize some of the text, but I assure you that the time that you're putting in on the front end, doing this once, where you then just have to edit the little details in future years, that's kind of one of the best use cases of this platform. And again, if you're not really liking this background too much, I can click on those stars, hit delete, go over to elements, type in sunset, and now I can bring in this background, which almost looks like you're in space. And I can do that one to make it a little bit more, I don't know, pastel colored, so to speak. So please, if taking away nothing else from today beyond the Learn, Educated Resources tab, the Animate character, use that translate option for your multilingual learners and make the learning inclusive of them and their families. Okay, enough of me talking at this point. So what you're doing now is you are going to select the templates button over on the left side, and you're going to decide what search options you want. Now, I do know that there's a mood drop down. I don't recommend using that one unless you're looking for specific colors. But what I would definitely recommend doing is the output. So if you want to keep this for purely infographics, you can click on that. Your content area, I can appreciate that it's a little bit limited. I can appreciate that. You can go extracurricular or visual art and design. In this case, I'm going to select language arts one more time. And then select your grade level. Always got to give it up to the middle school individuals. And now what you will see is all of the different templates available for those parameters that you set forth within those search options. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to truly explore all of these different templates. Try to find one that would be appropriate, maybe even for your first week of school. Let's clear everything and let's type in getting to know you. Getting to know me looks like it was underneath. Let's try that. You have all of these different options here. Okay, these are all ready to go where you can click on any of these and assign it directly to your students. There's even one here, Meet Miss Berry, that could easily be updated with your 3 fun facts, get to know me, my experience, and your contact information. Be a great opportunity to use it back to school night. Okay, so I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to explore some templates. Any one that you like, simply click on it, go customize template, and you'll be brought right in, ready to edit it. And again, we want to make this inclusive to our students who speak other languages. Translate. I'm going to do just Spanish on this one. Hit translate. And now any bit of text on this page is going to have its Spanish translation on page 2. So this is where you could print out 2 versions. You could have people do it digitally, but you're just making it all the more accessible to your students. So a great option right there. So I'm going to give everybody about 10 minutes to explore just the regular templates or guided activities. If you want to, you have full carte blanche to explore those templates and educator resources to find something that engages you and might do the same with your students to start off the school year. Please let me know if you need anything. So one more time for anybody out there who might be trying to figure out where we're at right now. From the main Adobe Express homepage, and you can get there by clicking on that rainbow gradient A. We're going into this template section. Another activity that comes to mind that would be an excellent getting to know you activity if you want to do it less of that quantitative type of deal that we just did with the day and data. Select the guided activity box right here under filters. And if you scroll near the bottom, I'm sorry, in the middle, excuse me. This one right here with Adrian. Very, very, low learning curve for just getting to know the platform, where you're learning about their favorite subject, their favorite food, their name, the talent that they have, and what they like doing in their spare time. So I would definitely recommend this All About Me guided activity as an option to kick off your school year. Just looking ahead to close out, we're going to show you classrooms and how to assign templates to your students once those clever classes get set up. And then we have a little bit of a feedback form, and that's going to do it for the symposium. Very excited. Julie, that's a great question. So Julie, so let me ask you this. Okay, let's do this. So I'm going into a storybook template. Can I find one? All right, let's try. All right, I'm just going to try this one here. So if your template has multiple pages, Julie, so I think it has to be a presentation. It might have to be a presentation. Give me 1 second. It's a good question. I don't know if you've got the page turning transition, but I know there are a few. So I'm going to try to go into a presentation here. Okay. All right. So let's do designing our future. So to the left, it looks like they kind of changed it a little bit, Julie. Do you see this little double triangle page transitions? Do you have that available to you? Okay, click on that. And unfortunately, I was right about that. You're not going to have a page turning type of deal. I will say that it would be tough. I mean, the only tool that I know that does that page curl kind of effect is iMovie. It's a great idea. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to give you even credit for it, Julie, because I think that that would really be an innovative transition between it. No, not at all, Julie. You did a great job even thinking of page transition. So you have dissolve, you have push in you have push in all the different directions where if you click on it and then hit the gear, you could change the duration and the direction. You have slide and you also have wipe. So those are the options as of now, but I feel like 4 could definitely be a little bit more robust than that. So I'm going to work on that one for you because I think it would come to life even more if you had that opportunity to do transitions with the page turning. It's a great idea. All right, everybody, a few more minutes. Talk about classrooms next. I appreciate all the participation. So Stephanie, I'm actually trying that edit PDF deal with a Google slide deck that I downloaded as a PDF right now. I believe you're going to be able to edit text and images, okay?
That's great. Thank you.
You got it. I'm going way back to 2023 right here to one of my old Adobe Express sessions that I did. But I do believe you're going to be able to edit text, edit images, you know, bring more stuff in and out. Let's take a look. Yeah, it looks like you're going to get the full design suite available to you. So you got those slide decks that you know are killer, you know, do a great job with your kiddos. These are all editable now. I can change the text. Great option. So that's the edit PDF option, okay?
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
You got it, of course. So what I'm going to encourage is that you keep one of the activities that you've completed during this session open, because we're going to show you Quick Assign in just a moment. Now, what I will say is that that translate piece is going to make the materials more accessible, but the classroom aspects, and lucky you all, you know, Clever's going to set you up with your classroom. So I can kind of gloss over that create aspect. Seems like it's going to be in the rollover in the next week, and then you'll have your classes all set up. So we're really going to focus in on now how to assign an activity to our students, okay? So from the main Adobe Express homepage, again, click on that rainbow gradient A on the top left corner. I like to right click it and go open new tab. That allows me to keep my design open and bring up the Adobe Express homepage. A little quick tip there for you. So over here on the left side, you'll see classrooms. Now you'll see my sample class. This is one that I had to create because I don't have the Clever integration that you all have. Now, let's say that something happens where you're in a group of kids that are not attached to your Clever group. I could speak personally. We use ClassLink in my district, and that helps with our rostering over here. But I know that you all use Google Classroom over there. So I'm going to really go quickly over creating a class from scratch, because let's say you have like an after-school program and they're not actually attached to via Clever. You can go create a class. The only aspect, I'm going to go Isaac's after school club. The only aspect that you need to add in when you're creating a classroom is the class name. If you add in one of these subject areas, what's really nice about it is you can also select multiple grade levels. But again, I'm going to kind of move quickly here, and co-teachers. When you hit save and you create your class, what's really nice about selecting that subject is that you get little animated tiles for that class that make it a little bit more easily identifiable. So you do have that option of creating a class. But again, I can obviously tell that it seems like Clever integration is going to be your way to access your classrooms. So these should already be set up come the 29th. Now, let's talk about creating an assignment for your class. Two different ways of doing it. The way that I like to do it is I'm in on my design. This is my About Me template for an infographic that I kind of found earlier. I translated it into Spanish so that it's accessible to my students. You can go, I remember telling you all, keep that purple assign button in mind, because that's going to allow us to do a quick assign from a design that we are in on. I'm going to click assign. Now, again, it doesn't have a title because I continue to forget to add a title to my designs, but that's okay. It still has the date and time, so I know enough. And this is going to be called All About Me. And you're going to select your class. Now, I will say this. I keep trying to think there's something more to this. It seems like you can only select one class at a time. I am going to continue to bring up that idea that you should be able to toggle multiple classes at once. I think that that's very important. I think that that's a little bit of an oversight. So for now, you're going to have to select your classes individually, unfortunately. And the only other aspect to really talk about when assigning something is this idea of a gallery. Now, I don't think I have to explain too deeply what a gallery is. For my friends who joined me yesterday or earlier today, you know what this is already. What the class gallery is, it's going to allow you and students to view each other's work. There is not a way to anonymize student names at this time. So it's kind of everybody sees each other's work, or We're not turning the gallery on. This can be toggled on and off before or after the creation of your assignment, or during or after. So if you do not toggle that on right here, you do not have to worry. If you want to add more options, like instructions or a due date or anything along those lines, you're more than welcome to do that by clicking that more options. But for now, I'm going to go assign, and you'll be brought right to the live assignment page. Now, I've said this a couple times this week. I had the opportunity, Stephanie, we're in good company here. I worked with our digital media specialist at our elementary school, Amerigo Way Anastasia, and we used classrooms to set up her groups for them to participate in Crayola Creativity Week. And they used Adobe Express to kind of represent what creativity meant to them. So what you're going to have on this page is, as students are completing their designs, you're going to get color-coded, updated versions of their graphic, where you'll have a line underneath, the student's avatar, and their graphic up top. And you're going to have turned in progress, returned, or not started, color-coded with blue, magenta, green, and red. Returned is the only one that might be a little bit tricky. That's the one where you've given feedback, you're pushing it back to them to make edits, but the rest of these are very self-explanatory. So, you got your small group work going. I have this up in front of me, and I'm letting my kids work on their independent work on Adobe Express, and I'm able to see exactly where they're at from this space. Stephanie, do you have anything? I see you hopped off of mute. Oh, now I think you went back on to mute.
Sorry about that. Total accident. And I'm
No
saying
problem.
I'm actually going to be putting you on my phone because I have to take my mom to a doctor's appointment.
Stephanie, take me on the road with you. I appreciate that.
We are.
All your participation throughout. I hope I don't annoy Mom too much, okay?
No, she'll love it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So this is a great space that's very simple. And, I've shared this a couple times. The top of the top for me as a former math teacher, I pop into classrooms now here and there. Can students provide meaningful feedback to one another? Are we giving students the opportunity to provide meaningful feedback to one another? Within these class galleries, they have the opportunity to leave comments on each other's work. I can't think of anything better than having kids take a look at each other's designs, give feedback, give some constructive criticism. Or if you don't want to go with the digital gallery, have your kids create an about me, print them up, put them on a bulletin board, and have those welcoming all your families on back to school night. I can only imagine the joy it would bring them to see kids creating with these multimodal tools, showing more about themselves. Very big clap of thunder and lightning right there. Excuse us here over here. But at the same time, that's really all there is to it as far as quick assigning from an actual template that I'm in on, using that purple button in the top right corner. Now, the other option that we have is to, within whatever class that you're in from Clever, is go to create an assignment. And that's going to bring you to a page that looks similar to before. So I'm just going to go sample. Again, you do not have to do updates. You don't have to worry about any of that. I'm going to turn the gallery off in this case. And what creating an assignment from the classroom section does is it gives you the option to just simply assign a project type, not a specific template, but a project type that's going to, let's say that I do an infographic. Over on that left side of the workspace, when I go into Adobe Express, it's going to have all infographic templates available to kids to kind of scroll through and then almost create from scratch while using those remixable templates. But you could do a presentation. If you really want to go next level, you could do a learning journal or a web page and allow students to develop that digital portfolio like I was talking to Stephanie about earlier in this session. That's the ultimate. But you have so many different options, and you can choose up to 5 if you really want to give that choice to your students. So let's say I'm giving them an infographic or a poster to share about their knowledge. I then click next. I click assign, and they will then receive poster and infographic templates right there within the space when they click on the assignment. The final way, before we kind of close out with a reflection form, Starting from classrooms one more time, I'm going to go back into my math session. You can click on create assignment and then go into your stuff. So if you have a template that you really like, that you've created already, let's say that I wanted my kids to take a look at my, let's go with the guided activities. And I want them to remix this bobblehead doll. I'll show off what I did yesterday. I loved it. It's one of the best ones I've done as far as actually looking like me a little bit. I can double click, or I can click on that and go upload. And now that is the template that my kids are going to be using. So while you have that option, while you're working on the template to do that quick assign, you also have the ability to pull in my stuff from the create an assignment within your classroom. And I'm going to go my action figure activity. Okay. So many different options. I'd probably say the one that I recommend the most would probably almost be finding a guided activity and giving kids those video instructions in addition to all the different tools that you have available within Adobe Express. So that's really all there is to it. Certified on a lot of different platforms. I apologize for people having to hear that twice in the last couple days. But this, as far as low learning curve, not too imposing and intimidating, I would say that this classroom setup is right there and very straightforward, not too much to have to navigate along with our students in class. So really quickly, I know that we really can't assign anything right now, but if this were me and I was getting my school year started on August 5th or whenever you all begin, I'd be going under my educator resources, and I would at the very least be doing this personalized name tent. You know, my 8th graders like doing that by hand. I had a lot of kids that were into art. This has full instructions. You could print it out with cardstock if you want to, and you could really get to know your kids that way. Other one that I would really recommend is this one right here, the Illustrate a Creative Self-Portrait. Why is this not opening up? Let's try copying the link. All right, there we go. Now, this is a generative AI activity. I assure you within those Learn tabs, there's information on generative AI. But all you really need to know about this one is they're providing adjectives and nouns that describe them, so you're getting to know your kids. And they're creating a AI digital self-portrait of themselves. So this is another great opportunity as a getting to know you activity where all you have to do to integrate the AI is click on that image in the background of the girl with green eyes. Select this generate image button right here over on the left. Change the prompt to whatever you like. Let your kids change the prompts to whatever's more appropriate for their aesthetic, their character traits. And then just hit generate underneath, and you will have that ability to have your kids create their own digital
Mother,
self.
this is my thing. I'm still listening.
Stephanie, I got you. All right, we're good, Stephanie. No worries. Okay, so this would definitely be one that I recommend where you change that prompt, you double click on the text, and you're getting to know how do your kids kind of feel about themselves? What do they identify as far as things that they're into and who they are? Great activity to start the year off where once you click on the template, go assign, and then simply add in. Stephanie, you owe me no apology at all. I know you're multitasking right now and being a great daughter. So no problem at all. Just happy to have you throughout this session today. Okay. So I think we've shared plenty of activities to assign to our students once those clever classrooms are set up for you next week. We've talked about classrooms. We talked about assignments. We've finished up with this secondary web page, and we're going to go back to the beginning. So I'm scrolling down. I can't thank you all enough. Please don't jump out of here just yet. I have a reflection form for you to complete. Stephanie, I know you're kind of on the road. Don't go crazy with that. You know, just be safe. You can always complete it a little bit later. But I just want to make sure to say you're going to get a badge for this training session today within about 7 working days. I would highly recommend you all have enough skills today at the end of this session, especially if you've attended more than one. Try that Adobe Level 1 certification course. You have to create a graphic talking about what you hope to do with Adobe Express. But if you were to create an example that incorporated animate character or a voiceover or anything along those lines, you'd be a shoo-in. So I would highly recommend looking into that Adobe Creative Educator Level 1 course. And last but not least, before that feedback form, the Adobe Creative Educator community, one of the best ones that I'm a part of. You might have heard me talking to Stephanie earlier about the fact that they actually pay for lodging, food, events for individuals who go to their headquarters. They do a summit once per year. I was able to attend the one in New York, considering I'm in New Jersey. But talk about amazingly talented individuals. You have the evangelists, you have individuals on the education team. You just have so many different resources available to you in the form of the people with Adobe and the people who are passionate about Adobe. I don't know if I'm in a community that has more passionate educators, more creative individuals than the Adobe Creative Educator community. So if you are into, joining clubs, joining groups in order to exchange ideas, you click on this link. It will bring you to an additional web page. We're really hitting the web pages, and it gives you all of the different information on the Adobe Creative Educator group. And again, if you think that as an 8th grade math teacher, I've used this platform probably for about 5 years now. If 5 years ago, when I was not certified on really much of anything with Adobe, that I'd be now training wonderful individuals such as yourself in Salinas, California, virtually from New Jersey, just having a wonderful time, I wouldn't have believed you. So it all has to start at some point. I hope that today's session inspires you to really learn more about this platform, but especially that you use it and try it with your kids. I really do hope I've done enough today to make you feel like, you know what, I'm going to try that first week and really give this platform a shot with my kiddos to see how it engages them and how I can integrate it into my classroom. So you have all of these resources available to you. I will drop this overarching web page into the chat one more time. And Jen had set up a feedback form. This is going to be the last link that I add for the 2 days that I presented in this conference. I have added one additional tiny URL. That is the feedback form. Would love to get your feedback on the session, how I did, if you feel like it was effective. If you'd like to have me come back and Google Meet in again, would love to be able to do it with you one more time or throughout the school year. So please be vocal if you felt like this was a worthwhile professional learning session within that feedback form. But at this point, I feel like I've touched on everything. I really appreciate the participation. Can't thank you all enough for the feedback, the kindness throughout, the great, participation. And I really just hope that you all have the most successful school year you've ever had in your teaching careers, whether you're brand new or you're a 10, 15-year veteran. Wishing you the most successful school year possible, hopefully with one that includes Adobe Express within your teaching practices. So as long as you've completed that feedback form, you are free to go. I'm wishing you all a wonderful weekend, and please reach out to me if you need anything. But in the meantime, again, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I'll be here for 5 more minutes to answer any questions if you have any. Anali, I just dropped it into the chat. I'll drop it one more time for you. It's the tiny URL I just put in, okay? But otherwise, you're free to go once you complete that. Please stick around if you have any questions or feedback for me. But otherwise, have a great rest of your day and wonderful weekend.
Thank you so much, Alex. I truly, truly appreciate it. And I can't tell you how excited I am. We're going to be having access to all of this.
Stephanie, I love that you're advocating for the platform. Love the Wakelet connection. It was an absolute pleasure to have you. And please stay connected on X and reach out to me if you need anything, okay?
Absolutely, will do. Have a wonderful weekend. Go
You
have
too.
dinner.
You too. I'm going to. Be well.
Okay, bye-bye.
Aaron and Mio, thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend.